We're down to the final 5 seasons of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s career. This is number 5, the first one inside the top 5. Maybe one that doesn't belong here. It may have gotten bumped up due to some circumstances that happened during the season. Number 5 is a special one for Dale Jr. and Junior fans, but also a heartbreaking one. 2001, such a weird season. We all know what happened in the first race, but Dale ended up getting 3 wins, only 9 top 5s, which is kind of decent looking at his other seasons, and then 15 top 10s, 2 poles, led 767 laps, ended up 8th in the points. So it was a decent season, but it wasn't anything top 5 caliber. The only reason why it's in a top 5 is because of the 3 wins he got during the season. The Pepsi 400, the first race at Daytona after the 500, Dover, the first race after 9/11, and Talladega, which is where he came from the back to the front, much like his father did in the race before that season. We'll get to those a little bit later. But of course, we have to start the Daytona 500 with 2 laps to go. We're coming to the white flag. It's Michael Waltrip leading. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Waltrip's teammate is in second, and Dale Earnhardt's third. And those are the 2 DEI cars. So Dale Earnhardt owns that car, owns both those cars. He's right now running third. Sterling Marlin's fourth. Dale Earnhardt at this point, I don't think he's thinking about winning the race. He's thinking about having one of his drivers win it instead of him. He wants his company to win. He doesn't care about winning himself. So we take the white flag. Michael Waltrip leads. Dale Jr. second. Dale Earnhardt third. It's 3 associated cars right there. DEI pretty much associated with RCR. They're helping each other left and right. Dale Earnhardt's plan for the race was you, me, and Dale Jr. Told that to Michael. You, me, and Dale Jr. are going to go to the front, and we're just going to stay up there. Michael said, well, that's baloney, you can't do that at Daytona. Well, here they are in the last lap like that, but then it all starts happening behind Dale Earnhardt. Sterling Marlin makes a move down low. Ken Trader goes 3 wide top. Dale Earnhardt's in the middle, still trying to protect those 2 cars. He's trying to side draft his way out of it, get clear so he can go down block. Well, he makes a move a little too early to try and cut down from Marlin, cuts himself off and head on to the outside wall with Marlin. As that crash happens, we're coming to the checkered flag. The 2 DEI cars, Earnhardt Jr. is nowhere, and he'll finish second to teammate Michael Waltrip. After the race, though, not all is great. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is running towards the infield care center because of this.
Well, in hot pursuit of Dale Earnhardt Jr., they don't know anything yet about your father. Tell us about those last few laps.
Well, I was trying to stay behind Michael and see what happened at the end, but they had a big wreck back there, so they didn't have no help. So Michael won his first race. I'm glad for DEI for finishes 1 and 2 today. Pretty cool.
That's Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's going to the care center. He's trying to check on his father. He comes home second. Dale Earnhardt Sr. has been transported to the Halifax hospital, but no word on his condition one way or the other.
This is undoubtedly one of the toughest announcements that I've ever personally had to make. But after the accident in turn 4 at the end of the Daytona 500, we've lost Dale Earnhardt. NASCAR has lost its greatest driver ever, and I personally have lost a great friend, and I think that pretty well sums it up for the NASCAR community right now.
One of the things that this really teaches you the most about is how selfish you are about things like this. I mean, I miss my father, and I've cried for him, but out of my own selfish pity is the reason for those emotions. And that's really all I have to say.
I couldn't imagine he was a kid, and I can't imagine what he was going through.
It's your boss, it's your mentor, it's your father, it's the name of the company, and you had just been given the responsibility of the Earnhardt name to carry it forward. I don't know how he was supposed to handle it.
Well, in the first race after the 500, it didn't go well. On lap 1, Dale Jr. noses it head on to the outside wall after contact going into turn 3. And after the last lap of the Daytona 500, we come to the first lap at Rockingham, and Jr. head on to the outside wall and doesn't even complete a lap. In fact, in the stats, it shows 0 laps completed of 393. He finishes 43rd, the race after his father died in the Daytona 500 crash. Mike Joyce says this famous quote about how his season has gone.
And from the last lap of last Sunday to the first lap of this.
So as you can see, they're just all stacking up, trying to get into the corner. Earnhardt into the back of Junior, gets him sideways, and then Junior's trying to correct the car, gets into Wallace. Spencer's in the middle of that, and Junior knows it head onto the outside wall. Eerily similar to how his father crashed. It's actually pretty amazing how similar it was the race after, and the fact that it was Junior. If it was anyone else, it wouldn't have been that eerie, but since it was Dale Jr., the son, that crashed exactly like that. It's kind of a little weird how that happened, but you saw there from the replay, Hornaday just kind of aggressive into the corners. Everyone was kind of slowing it down front right there. You can see Junior sideways trying to correct the car. Just couldn't get down way too sideways. At that point, he got hit pretty hard by Hornaday. And once again, head on to the concrete. See from the onboard here, everyone's just trying to get down line, trying to ease it in. You can see Junior kind of lets off a little bit earlier, and right here, that stack up, he gets hit from behind, around he goes into the outside wall, and we'll finish 43rd, drops him down in points. So then we go to Atlanta, where if there was ever a race where you want to model your racing off for the future, here it is. 5 cars under a blanket, each running different lanes. Junior is in this pack running 4th here at Atlanta with 6 laps to go. Junior bumps Jarrett down the straightaway, trying to get a run right here. This is probably some of the most beautiful racing I've seen. So the 25 Nadu goes high. Jarrett's in the middle with Junior. Down low is Kevin Harvick, and they made a flying V through 3 and 4, and they're 3 wide at the stripe. They're beating and banging. 5 cars in a blanket. This is a recipe for a 5-car wreck, as Darrell Waltrip says. But in the end, Junior does end up 15th due to a flat tire that you see him get here later on. Some issues on the car. I think he was just pushing it a little too hard and possibly burned the tire up. You see Harvick gains the lead right there with Nadu fighting back to the outside. Jeff Gordon in 3rd, Jarrett in 4th. Right here, Jarrett kind of gets a little slow right there, gets a little tight. Junior has a mad run as they go through the corner. Right there, that's where the tire goes flat and he has to let off, and then he slows and he has to come down pit road, as you'll see right here, coming down. He's slow right there, and he comes down pit road right here with an issue. You see the tire that is flat right there on the right front. So we go to Darlington, where in 3 and 4 he knocks down the outside wall. This will relegate him to a 34th place finish and drops him down to 22nd in the point standings. Obviously a pretty hard season so far. His only top 10 was his 2nd place at Daytona, and all the other finishes since then have been mediocre at best. So then we go to Texas. In between Darlington and Texas was Bristol, where he was involved in a crash. I couldn't find any footage of that. But at Texas, he wins the pole. So the race he won last season to get his first career win, he gets the pole. He ends up being 107 laps, which is a pretty good amount. But he does end up finishing in the 8th position, kind of falling back there. But it's his first top 10 since that. Bristol dropped him down to 26th in the points, and then this Texas race gets him back up to 20th in the point standing. So he's starting to climb his way back out of that hole that he had put himself in at the beginning of the season. Right here, you can see the starting lineup. Junior on pole, Labonte to his outside. Here's the starts. You can see everyone kind of, since Texas is relatively new, I believe it opened like 97 or 98, it's still relatively new. Everyone trying to get down low. You can see how single-filed it is. Everyone kind of made bets with each other. Everyone kind of made plans to get down low. You can see all the single file there. No one really want to be on the outside. It rained, first of all. It's a newer track, so it's kind of like Texas is now. Newer pavement. You're going to get loose on that outside. We see it happen so many times with this new Texas. But you can see Junior rounds off a 4 to lead lap number 1 from the pole, and looks like he has a pretty good car. Looks like he could go back-to-back in this race here at Texas and get another win in his Cup career. It would be his 3rd victory, but still it's only lap 1, and of course, as I say, he ultimately ends up 8th after the day's doubling, 107 laps. So they have a pretty good car, just got shuffled back and could never make his way back forward. But you can see at the start, you have a really good car, and you can see drivers trying to crowd down. You can see Gordon there, Waltrip trying to crowd some others down low to keep it out of the way. And then for the first time this season, they had done a lap 3 tribute every race after Daytona. At Texas, this is the first time Junior actually led on lap number 3 in the season. And he's led on lap number 3 after this as well. But this was the first time in the season he led on lap number 3, because everyone holding up the 3 fingers as Junior raced down the backstretch with the race lead. It's kind of fitting that would happen. First of all, it's the place where he got his first career victory, and now everyone's holding up the number 3 as he goes by leading. That's pretty special that happened at this racetrack, that this was the first place that happened. So then we go on to Talladega, where he makes a move on Rusty Wallace for the race lead with 84 laps to go in the Winston 500, a race which went caution-free, which is something you don't see every day at Talladega, something you won't see ever again in NASCAR, unless, of course, the stages change out. But see, Junior gets to the lead, and he holds it. In this race, Junior ends up leading 33 laps, ends up in the 8th position, but goes from 19th to 12th in the points, which is a huge jump over. He gained 7 points for finishing 8th here at Talladega. He has to come back from commercial. They went to commercial, back from commercial, and Junior's leading the single file train around. It just seems like a Junior thing that happens at Talladega and Daytona. He's out front. They all go single file behind him. Don't know how he does it, but he does it. It happens a lot when he gets out front. They just go single file behind him. And he's just hauling the train around, just trying to log down some laps because so far they have not had a caution. They have not had a breather. Maybe this is their breather right here, going single file out. Just let them all ride in line. But you can see Talladega, the record 188.35 miles an hour. You know, their time this Talladega race went caution-free was that race in 1997. And Junior trying to win this one, but ends up with Bobby Hamilton in victory lane. And Junior falling back to finish 8th, but still moving his way up to the points. He's now up to 12th. Inside the top 12, he has the top 10 in his sights. So then we skip a few races there, and we go down to Michigan, where he started 7th. But had a pretty good car. He's running top 5. He was running some pretty fast laps with 28 to go. But the engine issues, and he relegates him down to the bottom half of the 30s. He ends up 39th, and it drops him down to 11th in points. He had made his way up to 9th in the points before this race. So now, the most famous race of 2001 has to be this one right here, the 2001 Pepsi 400. If you don't know what this race is, Junior dominated early on. Then, under green flag pit cycles, a yellow comes out. Junior had already pitched, so he's at the back of the field. Some drivers take 2 tires, some take no tires. Junior is on tires behind in the 6th position, and he has 6 laps to get up to the front. And see, he starts it through 1 and 2. He goes high, he's trying to make a move. Stewart blocks him, and then Junior bands back down to the bottom lane. So now he shuffled Stewart up to the top. He has help from behind from the 7 car. Mayfield in the 12 pulls low, so Junior's getting a tow off of Mayfield. They got underneath Schrader, so Junior's up inside the top 5 now as he passes Stewart right here, gets up to 5th. Schrader staying high. Junior's up to 4th now. And we're coming to 5 to go, so he still has tons of time up to 4th. He just gained 2 spots right there. And now look at as they come off of turn number 4. You'll see Junior hang a right to get up top of Jeremy Mayfield. That 7's just going right wherever Junior goes. That 7's going. So Junior up to 3rd by the time they completed 1 lap on the restart. 5 to go. Junior's got enough time to make that move up to the front if he can do it, though. So as you can see right here, through 1 and 2. And this actually kind of what made people think it was kind of rigged. It looked like Junior's really doing it without any help on the top side. He had a good push behind him, and when you have the fastest car there, it's not surprising to see his teammate Michael Waltrip driving down to the bottom lane, passing cars 3 and 4 wide to try and make his way up to the front. He had gotten some tires, so he's coming up to the front. See, Mayfield jumps in behind Junior, and he's going to the outside of Benson for the race lead already. So it only took him 1.5 laps to get side by side with Benson, and off of 4, he easily clears the 10 car to move into the race lead. So now Junior is out front in the Pepsi 400, the first race at Daytona after his father's death. And right here you can see Stewart run underneath the yellow line. That is a black flag for Tony Stewart. And now 4 laps left at Daytona, and it's Dale Jr. out in front of the fans going crazy, but can he hold it off? It looks like it's going to be tough at this point to try and hold off the field. Stewart has a pretty fast car. Labonte and some of the others, they're trying to march their way forward and get up here. They have some pretty fast cars. See the run Stewart has, Junior keeping it there. Stewart's run stalls out. Here comes Bobby Labonte, Stewart's teammate. Tony tries to get down in front of him, but Labonte's already down there. You can see who is that pushing Labonte through, but Michael Waltrip in the 15. How did he get up there? He started back on like 20th. He's already up to 3rd. So he could have a shot at sweeping Daytona, or at least helping his teammate Dale Jr. forward. We're coming to 3 laps to go. There's still tons of time left, and Bobby Labonte has had one of the faster cars of the night. He's up in 2nd. If he gets help from behind, he could definitely get his way by Junior, but there's only 3 laps left. You can see the pack behind. If the yellow comes out, the race would have been over at this point, but Junior comes down to cover the spot. That car is so good, so fast, just trying to end it out in victory lane. And right there you can see Waltrip's going to look off of 2 right here, but Labonte blocks it down low. Great job there by him. Ward Burton up to 4th. Elliott Sadler in 5th. And a funny thing about Sadler was he came down pit road with Michael Waltrip. He left pit road in front of Michael Waltrip, and he pulled over, let Waltrip go, and told his team, I'm following him through. He's going to the front. He'll push us to the front. He'll bring us to the front. And right here, it brings Sadler up to 4th, Waltrip in 3rd, and they're trying to get by Labonte right here. So coming to 2 to go. Junior does have his hands full. Labonte is a pretty fast car. He's looking high, he's looking low. Junior's doing a great job blocking right here, and it looks like it could be hard for him to see Tony Sr. clapping on Dale Jr. So we got 2 laps left. Bobby Labonte there in second, Junior running high. It looks like it could be hard for Junior on this last lap, but this happens.
Michael Waltrip dives underneath Bobby Labonte. They bump on the backstretch. Waltrip to second. Elliott Sadler and Rusty Wallace with him. Now, two team cars race in the 1 and 2 positions.
That's who Dale needs to see in his rearview mirror right now. That's the best thing he can see.
Will Michael Waltrip block for Dale Jr.? Will he try to win the race himself? White flag is out. Final lap at Daytona. 180,000 on their feet, screaming wildly. 2.5 miles to go.
Just exactly the opposite of the Daytona 500. It was 15 and 8. Elliott Sadler is trying to keep Bobby Labonte behind. He can't do it. But he does move down in front of Rusty Wallace on that fast line.
Clear. Bobby Labonte looking for some help, trying to get up there. His teammate Tony Stewart has never answered the black flag.
And they're 4 wide back between the Wallace boys.
Here they come, turn 4, final lap of the Pepsi 400. Michael Waltrip in second, but it's going to be Dale Earnhardt Jr. using lessons learned from his father to go from 6th to 1st and score the victory in the Pepsi 400.
That's unbelievable.
Yes!
The man behind you did it for you.
Yes!
You guys celebrate. You love you, man. You did it.
That was beautiful. Very, very nice.
Junior, you're happy.
Look at that smile. Wow.
I don't think there's anybody here that didn't want to see that.
Sentimental favorite, emotional favorite. Earlier in the broadcast, we talk among ourselves. Some of the moves he made on the track today looked like his father behind the wheel.
I am speechless.
Tears and cheers.
Pretty cool.
Marty Snyder's on pit road with Tony Uri, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s crew chief.
And you wouldn't believe the emotion, the tears out here for Dale Earnhardt Jr. If that wasn't like the old man, I don't know what was, Tony Sr.
Hey, he had a good teacher. He told him a lot about this place. He loves this place. Hell, listen to them fans up there. They love that kid to death.
I saw you look to the heavens with a few laps to go. What did you say?
Well, he said he knew he could beat him. We just didn't know what was going to happen.
Remember when we've seen this before?
And Steve Mills joining the fray now.
Yeah, man, D.I.'s tough. D.I.'s tough.
We can celebrate. What a finish at Daytona. Dale Jr. on top of the car in the infield.
The 1998 Daytona 500, when his father finally won the Great American Race, he threw the car into the grass doing victory donuts. Everybody joining in the celebration. That's Chocolate Myers, long-time crewman for Dale at Richard Childress Racing. Sixth to first in the final 6 laps. All right, Mikey, you celebrate too. You never got to celebrate your win in February. You celebrate now.
Man, that's just so cool. Storybook ending. Oh, this is great.
Is our winner, and Chevy congratulates him in the number 8 Monte Carlo on a big win tonight. And he'll tell you the only thing that comes close to Monte Carlo's reputation on the track is its reputation on the street. Monte Carlo, more champions depend on Chevy. We'll be there. To victory lane and Bill Weber. It's Tony Eury Sr., Dale Earnhardt Jr. These friends of yours?
Man, I just don't know what to say. I'm wore out. I can't think. I guess I gotta thank my buddy Tony, my crew chief, for hanging in there with me. All my friends, all the guys on the crew, Budweiser, Remington. I got to talk all night.
How did you get to the front after the restart?
I had a great car. It was all car, 100%. I just holding on.
Yeah. You've learned a few things through the years, though, haven't you, from certain people?
Yeah. Yeah, he was with me tonight. I don't know how I did it, but he was there, and Michael helped me. I guess we're even now.
You told Marty Snyder, Dale, you felt lonely on Father's Day, and there were times that you wanted to cry, but you couldn't. Did you cry tonight?
I'll be crying sooner or later. I don't know. I feel so good right now. I'm wore out there.
You know when your dad got his first win at Daytona?
Huh.
His first Winston Cup points win came 11 years ago today, July 7th, 1990.
So special. I dedicate this win to him. I mean, there ain't nobody else that I could dedicate it to that it would mean more to me. I want to say hey to Teresa back home. I hope she's loving this because we sure are. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now here comes Steve Park, his teammate who won at Rockingham after we lost Dale Earnhardt here. So the celebration here continues. Let's go to Matt.
And back in February, it was Michael Waltrip pushed to victory lane by Dale Earnhardt Jr. Did you pay back that favor tonight? Was that the game plan, Michael?
I just wanted Dale Jr. to win so bad, and I wanted to be a part of it. I didn't want to finish 10th or 12th. And
So you can see DEI was really in a DEI has to win situation. Waltrip was not going to pass Dale Jr. if it did not benefit DEI in some way. So he wanted to push Jr. to the victory. And there's actually some rarer footage of the finish from the stand. So I'm going to show that to you now, some footage from the stand of the finish. So you could see the electricity from the crowd there. So we go into Pocono, where Junior had a pretty good car. They play some strategy though. They are on the edge of fuel. They are just on the edge. So they're either going to just make it or just run out. So we got 3 to go, and Bobby Labonte has enough fuel. He's pushing Dale Jr. right here. He's to the outside of him. They are side by side down the front stretch with 2 laps to go. They're still side by side. Jr. with the inside, Labonte with the outside. Labonte had the stripe, but Jr. using that side draft to get back to him. And Junior led 31 laps in this race. He's up to 7th in points now after this race over here, because he's trying to slap in front of Labonte. Can't quite get it done. Still to the outside right here. He forces a hole in front of him, just gets up in front of him. Now Labonte goes to the inside, then back to the outside. They're going back and forth, and right here Junior has been the worst through the tunnel turn all day long, and at the end, certainly showing that Labonte drives off into the corner. Junior has to let off, and Labonte gets on by him and pulls away from that. Junior decides to save fuel after that, and he'll end up finishing 2nd here at Pocono, and that kind of signals the good results they have later in his career here. So we're going to Dover. We skipped so many races. Pocono was the 20th race of the season. Dover the 27th. We go down now to Dover, where on lap 3 takes the lead from Dale Jarrett, as they're remembering both Dale Earnhardt Sr. and the people who died in the 9/11 terrorist attacks on New York and Washington, D.C. As you can see right here, there's a sign about it. But first race after 9/11, and Junior's out front. He has a pretty good car. The talk of the garage has been that the 8 car is going to be one to beat in this race. But Ricky Rudd, the 28, also has a fast car in this day, and Junior and he are going to be swapping that lead back and forth for most of this race. But Eric C. Jr. behind Ricky Craven. This for the race lead. Craven has it, and Junior gives Ricky a little bit of a bump and run here. Gets to his rear quarter panel, almost spins him out. Craven does a great job saving the car. Junior gets on by to get to the lead. Right here you can see from the onboard how he kind of like hits him right here. It's a little bit of a tap. Ricky may have been a little bit slower than Junior thought he was gonna. And you can see that little hit right there, a little nudge out of the way. So then coming to the white flag, Junior is out front by a pretty good margin over Ricky Rudd on the other. So there's the white flag on the final lap of the Cal Ripken Jr. 400. Junior is out front, and a far ways back is second, third, and fourth. Back there, you can see right there, there's Ricky Rudd and Jeff Gordon. So Junior halfway down the backstretch, off into turn number 3, and it's going to be a second win of the season. And the race after the 9/11 terrorist attacks off of 4, Junior in the Budweiser number 8 wins at Dover, his only Dover win of his career. There you can see as the rest of the field comes across Nadu, Rudd, Gordon. And then Junior in a tribute to America, takes the big American flag that we see Keselowski do after every race, and does a nice little Polish victory lap around the whole track with that out the window. Pretty special there for Dale Earnhardt Jr. So in this Dover race, he dominated, leading almost half of it, 193 of 400 laps after starting third, winning the race, and it jumps up to 6th in the points standings now. So he's getting pretty close to a top 5. It looks like top 5 could certainly be in his sights. And if not a top 5, definitely a top 10 is in a pretty good position right now. You can see right there, he's going to do a full lap around the track with the American flag out the window. And Alan Bestwick actually said that Budweiser, Junior sponsor, said that they would donate most of their winnings from the race to the 9/11 fund, for the recovery fund. And it's definitely a good way to win the race. So that's a lot more money than you would have gotten if you finished 10th or 5th or whatever. So great job by Dale Jr. getting that money for Budweiser so that they could put it towards the relief fund for the 9/11 attacks on New York and Washington, D.C. It's a pretty long clip of just him going backwards around the racetrack with the American flag out the window. Still pretty cool, pretty iconic there. So 2 of Junior's wins so far in 2001. The first race at Daytona after his father's death at Daytona earlier in the season, and now the first race after the 9/11 attacks in Dover. So if there's a thing of fate, this season would show that fate is real, because the third win is also pretty fateful. So we'll see that in just a few more races right there. You can see winner of the MBNA, Cal Ripken Jr. 400. Then the next race out, Kansas, he's running 4th with a pretty fast car, and he blows a tire entering turn 1 and knocks the outside wall down hard. We've seen him blow tires many times at Kansas, that Goodyear tire test that we talked about in 2012, where he got a concussion. Now this here in 2001, there'll be a few more later on. Right here you can see the car just goes straight through the corner and into the outside wall hard. It's a pretty hard hit. In fact, it catches the car on fire for a little bit, and that ends his day early at Kansas. He ends up in the 33rd position, drops him down to 7th in points, but he's still within range of a top 5 if we were to get a good few more finishes. But Martinsville is the good no race, just no good, just no good at all for Junior. Here you can see the car was struggling, falling back a lap down. He gets into the outside wall here after spinning it out. And if that wasn't bad enough, later in the race he gets spun around again. So a horrible race for Dale Jr. at Martinsville. He ends up finishing 27th, keeps him in 7th in the points, but moving farther away from that goal of top 5. But at this point he's probably thinking, man, I just want top 10 after how bad the season started. I was down like 26th in the points. So being 7th in points, at this point in the season, pretty spectacular that he was able to stay that far. You can see the damage on the 8 car. Just no good, horrible, terrible race for Dale Jr. Nothing was going right. The car was handling poorly. He started up inside the top 5, but quickly dropped back, and all this damage definitely not helping the car handling, and the handling was already just bad as is. So right there you can see they're trying to fix more of the damage. They're lucky they can't even get fuel in the car. He actually gets out and away, finishes the race, but still pretty far back in the field and a few laps down. So then Talladega. Under 10 to go, Junior's leading a single file train again. So it was later in the race where he had to come down pit road and shuffle to the back of the field, and he makes his way up to the front with now 8 laps to go, leading the race, leading the single file train around. But 2 fast cars this race, Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart, and Bobby Hamilton. So those 3 fast cars, they're all lined up in a line. They could try and make their way up the line, but single file, so it's going to be hard to do. You have to keep each other in line. You have to follow each other on the top side. So right there you can see Stewart and Labonte, the two teammates. We'll speed this up right here. They are right now in line. Bobby Hamilton getting shuffled back in the 55. But right here, Stewart knows he has a teammate behind him now that will go with them. And Stewart's going to jump up to the outside right here into the trial. Well, there he goes to the outside, Kenseth. So he's up to 4th. And now he's going to get to the outside right here. He's going to keep making moves up towards the front to try and get to Dale Earnhardt Jr. and get by him. So right here you can see as they come down the backstretch, Jeff Burton moves up. Junior moves down with Burton, and now right here, Stewart gets to the outside of Burton. He gets a huge shove from Labonte, and Junior cannot move up in time, and Stewart does get to his outside right here. Has a little bit of a core panel up there. Junior's trying to get up, can't quite get it done. Stewart stays to his outside, and has a side-by-side battle, but that's a mistake right there. Stewart ran high, Labonte stayed with him, and Labonte gets shuffled top. Now Stewart wants to stay with Labonte, and Hamilton coming through the middle, and it's so spread out. But first, let's just take a moment to appreciate the sound of these cars in the pack in 2001. I mean, it sounds like fighter jets going through there. That's pretty cool, if I must say. Pretty cool that the cars sound like that. So now we got 6 laps to go. Junior trying to block Stewart for all it's worth. Stewart goes high, and that kind of kills his run that he was going to have right there. So Junior stays low, keeps out front. Stewart going high, then looks back low. Junior can't quite get down there. Stewart not going to go below the L line again. He got penalized at Daytona for it. And now they're side by side for the race lead. Junior up top and Stewart down low. And then right here, Labonte gets a huge shove from Mark Martin up top. And now they are 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 at the front of the field, which is amazing right here. But the middle lane getting a good push. The outside lane not really that great. And you got 2 fast cars in the middle, Hamilton. In fact, the fast cars of the race, Stewart, Junior, Hamilton, and Labonte are all at the front here in this race. Right here, you can see side by side to the stripe. 5 laps to go. Junior's still out front. Stewart's still trying to get by. Junior moves down to the middle lane again to cover the spot that Bobby Hamilton was going to take. And right here, Hamilton pushes Junior out to the race lead. And now they're 3 wide behind Junior. And now Junior's going to have to make a choice. Which lane do I block? Which lane's going to have the run? Can my spotter give me enough information to tell me which lane I have to block at this point in the race? So right there, you can see they're kind of stalemating out. Labonte getting a good push on the outside lane right there. Getting away from Mark Martin, gets to the outside, Junior, and Junior right here jumps down in front of Stewart now, and the outside lane with the big push. Bobby Labonte is clear now. Mark Martin in the 6th, trying to get to 2nd. Junior trying to fight back on the inside, but the organized line is the top side at this moment. So Junior going to try and move up, get that side draft. He moves up to the middle lane. Now we're coming to C4 to go. You can see Kenny Wallace in the 1 car. He's trying to get teammate Dale Jr. right here. He's trying to split to the middle, but can't quite get it done. He falls back to 4 wide. And you think it could have been a different race if maybe Wallace was up there, but ends up working well for Dale Jr. anyway. So we got 4 laps left. Junior and Martin are side by side for 2nd. Labonte comes down front of Junior, giving the draft to that 8 car. And the middle lane's still hanging tough, though. Mark Martin doing a great job. And I think at this point, Junior almost does anything he can to throw this race away. And I mean it. When you see what happens here with 4 to go, you think, how did he come back to win that? It looked like he tried to throw the race away. Right, he moves up to the middle. Stewart with the run. He's trying to get to Stewart. They make some contact. Junior going up into Martin. And he falls back to 3rd. Now Hamilton gets to his inside. He falls back to 4th with coming to 3 to go. I mean, it looked like he tried to throw that race away with how bad of a block that was and how failed it was. Now we come to 3 to go. Junior gets up to 4th again with a push from behind from Ricky Craven as he has Jeff Burton to his inside. Just 3 laps left now. Junior still trying to fight back up there. The front 3 are single file. In fact, it's the 3 of the 4 fastest cars of the day. So it's going to be tough for Dale Jr. to get up there past Burton and then get a push past Hamilton, past Stewart, and then he has to get by Bobby Labonte with that. So now we're coming down the backstretch. We're coming to 2 to go. Junior has a push from behind, gets to the back of Hamilton, doesn't know where to make the move, doesn't know if he has to go high or low right here. He decides to go down to the bottom lane. Ricky Craven, knowing that Junior has a fast car, is saying, hey, he can pull me forward. He does get in front of Hamilton, pulls up in front of him. Now he wants to get the push from Hamilton to try and get by Stewart and break up that Joe Gibbs racing train at the front. So Junior drives down to the bottom. He gets beneath Stewart right here. He'll get to 2nd as they come to the trial with that big run. Hamilton comes down to cover the spot from Junior, giving that draft to the 8. And now it's a single file train at the front. This time Hamilton not in that, though. It's now Junior in between the 2 Joe Gibbs racing cars. 2 laps left, though. Can Junior make a move? Will Stewart even help him to try and make that move? Can Junior make it? If Junior does make it, does Stewart go with Labonte, or does he actually go with Junior and abandon his teammate? So many unknowns for Dale Jr. at this point. He would rather be leading, I think, at this point than be running 2nd with all the JGR cars. And right here, this is a block that's important for this race. If Stewart gets to his inside, it's probably all over. Junior does a great job blocking there, keeping Stewart behind him, and it helps Hamilton get a run right here to the outside. Stewart kind of slowing those 2 down.
The 8 car does go around the 18. The 20 will go with the 18. Ricky Craven drops up behind the 55 car, trying to help flag is up. Final lap at Talladega. Who's it going to be? Labonte, Earnhardt Jr., Stewart, or maybe somebody out of the pack? Look at this move by Jr. at the white flag.
And Tony Stewart goes with Junior.
Coming with you. 20's with you.
Labonte blocks Bobby Hamilton. Cannot believe it, Claire. Contact. Bobby Labonte's over. It's the big wreck on the final lap. They're racing back for the win. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Tony Stewart are side by side. This is for the victory as Jeff Burton gets in the middle of it. At least 10 cars involved in the wreck on the backstretch. Burton and Stewart are side by side. That's all Earnhardt Jr. needs to see. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won the $1 million bonus here at Talladega. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won today. And Chevy congratulates Dale in the number 8 Monte Carlo on a big win, and he'll tell you the only thing that comes close to Monte Carlo's reputation on the track is its reputation on the street. Monte Carlo, more champions depend on Chevy. He'll be there. Bill Weber.
A small celebration here in Victory Lane at Talladega Superspeedway in Talladega, Alabama. Congratulations, a wild finish and a great race for you. DEI wins 3 of the 4 plate races this year.
Yeah, I guess we proved that wasn't no fix over in Daytona. But
you're on a mission for that, weren't you?
Yeah, I had to do it. I mean, I had to get really aggressive there at the end. But hell, everybody else was. So either block them or get run over, and trying to do a little bit of both. And had fun. It's a great race car. Congratulations to Budweiser, Remington, all our sponsors. It's a great day. $1 million for fans. So can't be any happier.
You pitted late, had to come through the field, similar to your finish at Daytona, only here you had a little more time to do it, and you had to come from deeper in the pack.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder to do that here. I don't know why, but it's almost 2 different racetracks. I'm almost out of breath, man. It's a little bit sick this morning when I got up. And didn't know if I was going to feel good or not, but this makes it all better.
Obviously, you know your dad had tremendous success here at Talladega. Now another Earnhardt comes to victory lane here.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I mean, he won this same race last year under the same circumstances. We've done some crazy things this year. Winning at Daytona, winning after the terrorist attacks, the race after that, and now winning this race, and you know, just like my daddy did. So it's crazy, man. I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
So Wilson goes back on the wagon next week?
No, Wilson's going every week.
In the car or on the wagon?
On the car. He's been great luck, man. We needed this for the points too. That's huge. I got 5 races left, and I want to finish in the top 10 in points in my second season so I can get up on New York and give my piece to him.
And $1 million for you and a race fan.
Yeah, let me see her.
Uh-oh, hang on.
Her name's Carrie Richter, and she's from Ohio. So yesterday we ran an EA Sports race on the computer, and some little 15-year-old dude won $10,000. So we've been winning all kinds of money from people this week.
Congratulations. Great race, great win.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, guys.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in victory lane here at Talladega. $1 million for him, and the no-bull bonus pays off again.
Then we're going to Phoenix, where he's having a decent day and some sort of engine issue. That's the race after Talladega. It is an engine issue. Drops him down, and he finishes 37th. He was up to 6th after his performance at Talladega in the points, but now drops him down to 7th in the points. This only with 25 to go. As you can see on the leaderboard, he's running around 18th. So it was a decent day. It wasn't anything showy, but it wasn't really that bad either. It was just 18th. It was going to be a mediocre day, but now this engine issue drops him down. And another engine issue for DEI this season. And it seems like every race after a win, he just had some sort of issue on the car and just could not finish. After Dover, the Kansas happened, and then after Talladega, this happened. So then the final race we'll cover this season is at Atlanta. We'll start with qualifying, because as you can see, look at the pace chase down the bottom right with Dale Jr. So this compared to the pole of Mark Martin as they come down the backstretch. A 10th, still gaining. A 10th and a half now, through 3 and 4. Oh wait, 2 tenths, 2.5 tenths, a quarter of a second now. Dropping it down a little bit, he'll end up being a quarter of a second faster than Mark Martin. And listen to the reaction from the crowd.
One and done. And it was the one that counted.
Man, oh man. He ran a quarter of a second faster than Mark Martin, much to these fans' delight.
His dad won here 9 times. Over the course of his career, who could ever forget the emotional win for Kevin Harvick back here in March? A lot of Dale Earnhardt fans. Look at the fist pumping, the whole thing.
Yes, he is excited. He's pumped. I'm telling you, getting on that wagon was a good thing today.
If only we could convince people to get up there with Marty more often.
Yeah, well, Marty had him pumped up today.
There you go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the pole.
So you see he's on the pole and he leads the field to the green flag here for the second to last race of the season. This would normally be the last race of the season, but since, of course, the 9/11 attacks happened, they had to push New Hampshire back to the end of the season. So it's actually the second to last race of the season. Junior ends up this race in the 7th position. He led 171 of 325 laps. He just could not see out the deal at the end. There was some fuel strategy at the end, a fuel mileage finish, and he fell back to 7th. I think he was a little conservative on the fuel and just could never make his way back up there. It was a tough break for him. He definitely had a car that could win, just wasn't in the right position at the right time. But as you can see, he comes around, he leads. So a pretty good car here, finishes 7th, keeps him in 7th in the points. It actually dropped it down to 8th. So at Homestead, he ended up 15th, he kept it 7th. And then Atlanta, he ended up 7th, it dropped him down to 8th, and that's when he'll finish in the points. 8th in the points for a mediocre 2001 season, but the 3 wins differed, but held up inside the top 5 spot because of how special those 3 wins were. So a weird season for Dale Jr. Started out really horribly. Daytona turned it around after Daytona, started clicking off great finishes, got himself inside the top 10 points. So thanks for watching number 5. I'll see you guys for the final 4 seasons of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s career.